Well, Isaac, cheers.
Cheers.
Yeah, cheers, Isaac. Thank you for joining us. We're
My pleasure.
super excited to have you.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, welcome. So we're here with Mr. Isaac Toledano. That's kind of a Latin name.
Yeah, you threw a Latin accent on
Yeah,
that.
I did, but it's not. Is it Latin at all?
It's originally from Spain.
Yeah.
But you have Toledanos all over the world. It's Morocco, Spain, I hear Venezuela.
Yeah.
So Italians. So you got it all over.
Yeah, I was talking to my wife yesterday over dinner, and I mentioned who we were gonna have on the podcast. She's like, "Sounds Italian," the last name.
Yeah, it kind of does.
So
Yeah,
that's cool.
I heard this comment before.
Yeah. All right, cool. So, and Mr. Isaac Toledano is the co-founder and CEO of BH Group. Your better half is the other co-founder. Is that correct?
That's correct.
Yeah,
It's the real boss.
that's the real boss.
Absolutely.
Cool. Well, welcome. We're really excited to have you. You've done quite a bit in the last 20 years. It sounds like you moved here in 1999.
That's correct.
But we want to go way back. You were born in Israel,
That's correct.
and your parents were originally from where?
So my dad was born in Morocco, and when he was 16 years old, he moved to Israel. My mom, she's Poland, moved to Israel when I think she was 14.
Okay.
They met in Israel, got married in Israel. Until today, they reside in Israel. We're a total of 4 kids, 3 boys and a girl. I'm number 3.
Okay.
And she said, thank God for everything that we have. Thank God for my parents. Thank God for my wife, kids, everything.
And so, was your dad in real estate?
So my dad was doing a lot of things, but some of the things that he used to do construction for affordable housing for the government of Israel. So let's put it this way, that for me, since I was a young kid, going and doing of visiting construction sites and see how I can hold the polished floor and how can I the polish marble and do many things. So it's something that it's not new to me. I'm working since I'm 15 years old. Unfortunately, I dropped school at the end of 9th grade.
So, real quick though, so you started going to construction sites. How old were you?
12.
12.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's a fun place to play with some big machines.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
And so, what? So you said you dropped out of high school when you were in 9th grade.
Yeah, at the end of 9th grade.
Did you ever graduate high school?
No.
I love that.
That's
That's
amazing.
so awesome. What didn't you like about school?
So I'll tell you what, putting me
Yeah, go for it.
putting me in a box and putting me in a room and say, you have to stay here from 8 to 3 or from 8 to 4. And it's like, you need to have discipline. When I was young, it didn't work for me. Today, obviously, discipline is one of the most important things in business, in the personal life, the education to the kids. So obviously today it's something that it's easy for me to deal with. But when I was 15 years old, putting me in a box wasn't easy for me.
Did your parents graduate from college?
No.
No, they
High school.
They graduated high school.
Yeah.
Okay, so they didn't have this mandate of, hey, you need to go to college. They supported what you were doing at the time, because Jewish culture is very much about education, and so this is kind of a rarity for someone to say, you know what, I'm not even going to finish high school.
Remember, 35 years, things were different. Today, I'm a little bit over 50 years old, thank God. And my parents did not support that move. This was like a big drama at my house when I decided. But at the end of the day, my dad knew that I have the blood of, hardworking person. I always liked business. I always was curious to know things and learn things. Most of my friends always was older than me. So
You're an old soul.
exactly. So being in a business environment with older people around me, nobody can tell me what time I'm coming, what time I need to leave. At that time, it worked perfect. But I definitely agree with you that a lot of Jewish families around the world until today, education is something important for them. I have 8 kids and I'm pushing my kids for education. My daughters, 3 of them finished high school, went to the army. So,
Oh, wow.
yeah. So it's a process, but you know what? Today, the kids are so independent with this social media, with everything. Is like many of the kids, regardless if they're coming from a wealthy families or not, you tell them college, some of them, yes, will tell you, yes, I'm excited. They're going for college. They want to enjoy, you know, what is college? Some of them will tell you, oh, I'm not going to college to study. I'm going to college to have fun. I'm going to meet a lot of people. And some of them are really learning. So my son, Nuriel, is going to start the UM in October this year. He was accepted and he's very excited. He's going to go study business. And I hope it's going to work out fine for him. And if not, always going to give him the backup and the support. I'm going to give him the best advice that I think he should finish college. And I hope he's going to be successful. I believe he will be successful. But in case it will not work for him, I'll take him to work with me.
So you left school in ninth grade. Were there any particular subjects that you liked or that you were good at? Or were you just like, I don't like school, period? I mean,
English and math.
English and math were your two subjects that you enjoyed.
This is the two things that always turn me on, is because I knew that at one point in my life I want to go to the United States. I said, oh, English is important. And math, I always was dealing with money, and I said, hey, I need to know exactly what to do, how to do the calculation. So this is the two things that really kept me excited. The rest wasn't too exciting. And so. And
any sports you played when you were younger?
Soccer.
Soccer, football?
Yeah.
You were a football player. What position?
Yeah.
What position did you play?
I was a gatekeeper.
Okay. Yeah, you're a pretty tall guy.
Yeah.
How tall are you?
6'3".
Yeah.
I like that, but at one point, my family moved from where I grew up. I was born in a place called Nazareth Elite. It's up in north of Israel. Then my parents moved to Tel Aviv. And at one point, my parents decided that they're going back. They didn't like Tel Aviv, and I never came back. I just stayed in Tel Aviv. And
you're a city guy.
I was there. Exactly.
Yeah.
City guy. And then I was in Tel Aviv. I met my wife, Liat, in Tel Aviv, got married. And when I was 24 years old, we moved to the United States.
Okay. So your first job, what your dad helped you out with, was you started a landscaping business.
That's correct.
How long did you operate the landscaping business for?
I would say about 14, 15 months.
Okay.
And my dad gave me a loan at that time was equivalent today to like $1,500 or $1,600. Very quick, I paid him the money back. I was very successful. So imagine when I was like 15, 16 years old, I had like 9 people at the age of my dad working for me.
So what made you want to start a landscaping company? You dropped out of school and you're like, these people's yards are a mess and they should pay me to fix it up.
A friend of mine came to me with this opportunity and he said, hey, there is a landscaper that I know that he's moving to another city and we can take over all his accounts. We can take over his business. So we just like came in, and the day after we had already the customers, we had the equipment, everything.
That's awesome. So you used the loan to buy the equipment and set it all up.
That's correct.
Nice. So you ran that for 14, 15 months?
That's correct.
And then what'd you do?
Then I moved to Tel Aviv and with my family. As I said, my family went back. So I was working with my brother.
So you were by yourself in Tel Aviv at what age? 16?
16 and a half.
Wow.
With my oldest brother, Rafael.
Were you chasing a bunch of hot ass at that age?
That's correct. That's correct.
Good.
And imagine that my brother was a very successful hairdresser. So going to visit him at this salon, you see all those chicks.
Oh yeah.
And so life was really great.
I bet you're an entrepreneur. You got some money in your pocket. You're 16, living in Tel Aviv. Doesn't get much better than that, huh?
Yeah. And then at one point, a friend of mine introduced me into a business of doing like a hard money loans. So my brother gave me a loan, which is equivalent today to like $100,000. At that time was a lot of money.
It's still a lot of money, yeah.
Yeah. And I started with this thing. I was giving these short-term loans, hard money loans to like business owners.
What kind of businesses?
Just like air-conditioned companies, contractors, like anybody that will come in and he has a real business, someone that I see the opportunity. If I give you the money, and the chances for me getting the money back are going to be high. So I did okay with this as well for a few years. And then my brother started investing in real estate. So I started, like with him.
What was he investing in?
Like, for example, he bought like today's equivalent to a quarter of an acre of land like in a prime location, hiring architects, consultants, getting it approved at the city, but he didn't have the vision. He did not have the balls, excuse my French, to build. So we flipped it. And I saw that he made good money. I said, listen, I can buy some properties and flip them as well. So this was the next venture.
Where did your brother get all that money though? Hairdressing? He was able to save.
He was very successful, yeah.
Like that's a lot of money for a hairdresser.
Very, very successful, very famous, yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
And so he just parlayed that hairdressing money into real estate.
Exactly.
Wow.
Yeah.
What a move. So you flipped the land and you're like, this is easy money. Let's do this again.
It's easy money. And then I bought another piece of property, like in the area that I would say equivalent to Port St. Lucie here, a little bit north. I bought a piece of property that the zoning was agriculture. I changed the zoning. I sold a third of the property, and I got all my money back. So now I have 2/3 of the property at zero cost. And I was working hard to change the zoning. I was successful, sold it to some developers. I made a nice chunk of money and continue from the next deal to another deal until I came to the United States when I was 24 years old.
And how hard is it to change zoning in Israel? Because here, changing zoning, I don't know, that's a 1 to 2 year process probably.
30 years ago was much easier. Today, the bureaucracies in Israel is a killer.
Really?
Yeah. So I listened to another podcast of yours, and I want to touch upon this because you mentioned that you will never develop in Israel, and that it takes four or 5 years to get a project approved in Israel. Whereas here, it's like it takes a year to get it approved, a year and a half, that the bureaucracy is much less. I mean, Israelis have a very startup culture there. Like things move quickly. Why does it take so long to develop, to get things entitled in Israel versus here? And
not a lot of land available in Israel, the Holy Land.
Yeah.
And everybody wants a piece of the Holy Land. The municipalities and the bureaucracy and the tax system, like the equivalent to the IRS, the law is very, very difficult. So, for example, if you bought a property that it's agriculture and the fact that you were able to change the zoning, only on this move you already owe taxes. Only because you're able to change the zoning, now your land is worth more money, so now you need to pay taxes on it. And when you sell it, again, you need to pay taxes on it. Getting a project done in Tel Aviv, for example, a project today, get it designed, get it approved, will take you about 4 years or even longer.
Wow.
When here in Florida, you can buy a site, get it planned, designed, fully entitled, like within a year. Build the job, it's going to take you another 2.5, 3 years. Within 4 years, your money is in and out. Here in Israel, in 4 years, you're not even starting.
Yeah.
And people complain about the process here
exactly.
all the time.
I'm not complaining, by the way.
That's crazy.
So you meet your wife in Israel. How old were you when you met your wife?
24.
Okay.
I met my wife. This was a real good story.
She grew up here in the States, right?
She grew up here in the States.
Where did she grow up?
New York.
Okay, whereabouts in New York?
Starred City, Brooklyn.
Okay.
And her family moved when she was 6 years old. And at one point, she moved from United States to Israel. Her mom, her brother used to still lived here. They didn't move back to Israel. So we met in Israel. And then I said, Liat, let's try our luck and we'll go to United States. So at that time, 24 years old, I was a little bit, with a little bit of cash, maybe call it $1.5 million.
Had you been to the United States before? Or no?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, as a tourist.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Never been in Miami, by the way, before.
Okay.
It was only New York and California, not in Miami.
Okay.
So I arrived to Miami.
And why did you guys pick Miami?
Because her brother used to live here. And I said, listen, I hear great things about Miami. Let's try. And if we're not going to like it, we can always go either to a different place or we can go back to Tel Aviv.
And this is 1999, right?
This is 1999.
Okay.
So my wife, she's American citizen because she grew up here. So I got my green card super fast. I arrived to United States, 1999. I had about $1.5 million. My brother-in-law helped me to buy my first townhome in Hollywood. Found it in an auction or something. Helped us to do the renovation.
Where did you move to in Miami?
Immediately, Hollywood.
Hollywood?
Yeah.
Okay.
Bought the townhome, I think, for $100,000. Did all the renovation and everything. Now I'm looking for things to do, and I cannot find the place what to do because I'm not excited about this opportunity. I'm not excited about that opportunity.
But did you come to the United States thinking I'm going to do real estate?
I had the idea of continuing doing real estate, but when I came, it looks to me like very, very complicated. And I participated in a couple of meetings. It was like I was sitting in a room and people was talking about zoning and entitlements and how you open an entity and what do you need to do in order to close on the property and the ownership. It sounds like for me like a Chinese. So meanwhile, I was sitting at the house. I came with Israel. We sold our house in Israel, my wife and I. So we had about $1.5 million. This is the .com days, the AOL days,
Yep.
the days that the stock market crashed. Like now we're in, call it, I think, the beginning of 2000. I lost the entire $1.5 million in the stock market.
Holy shit!
So I became like,
Wait, hold on. How did you? Let's talk about this. Like, how did you lose it? Where'd you put your money that you lost it?
AOL was one of them.
Yeah.
A lot of the technology companies, Yahoo and all these guys. And poof, one day the market crashed and it continued and it continued and continued. And, it's good sometimes to be an optimistic person, but sometimes it's not good. And I guess I was too optimistic. I was hoping that the market will come back. And guess what? It went down instead of going up.
You wrote it all the way down.
Exactly. Exactly. This is why, by the way, since then I don't touch the stock market.
No. Wow.
I don't gamble. I don't go to casinos. I don't touch crypto. I don't do all those things. Real estate only. Stick
Just
to the
bricks.
plan.
Just bricks.
That's
bricks
it.
and land.
Exactly.
Yeah, that makes sense.
I always say that there is a reason why real estate called real estate because it's the only thing that it's really real.
Right.
So you lose almost all.
Not almost.
All of it. $1.5 million. Gone.
Everything's gone.
Yeah. And so what's the next step?
The next step is that I have to survive. We have a baby. My wife, she's pregnant with our number 2. And my brother moved from LA to California, from LA to Miami. He was selling oil paint and he was doing an okay money. I was looking for a job. I went to this job interview, that job interview. And one day I said, Liat, listen, I owe your brother, I owe your mom, and I owe my brother $250,000. I'm sitting at the house. I'm not working. This is crazy. I'm just going to take any opportunity that comes to me. I'm just going to start. I went to a job interview, a company here in Miami. They were wholesalers of perfumes. And they told me, hey, listen, we're really not hiring, but if you want, we can hire you as a stock boy. And I said, what are you guys paying a salary? They said, you'll start at about $300 a week. I came to the house, I had lunch with my wife, and I said, Liat, I'm starting tomorrow. She said, over my dead body. She says, I know you. I know your capabilities. You already did it once. We came here to the United States wealthy. I guarantee you that we will make it again. Please be patient. We will find the right opportunity. My wife was a friend with someone that told her, hey, if you want to make a lot of money, you should become an insurance broker. So my wife went and she was studying and how to become an insurance broker because someone told her she can make about $1,500 a week. So while she's studying, she's also going with my brother, selling oil paints from door to door. Pay attention to this. I'm home with the baby and saying, what the heck? It's like, look what you did to yourself. My wife never complained, never said, look what happened to us because you took too much risks. She was like with me, gave me all the support. So my wife went to a job interview in an insurance agency. One of the guys that was there was an Israeli. His name is Gil. And she goes for a job interview and she starts speaking about me. And she said, Gil, maybe you know someone that looking for a smart man to be next to him. My husband has a lot of knowledge in businesses. He has knowledge in real estate. He's a very, very smart guy, very creative guy, hardworking guy. Do you know someone that will give my husband an opportunity? And he said, yes. I have a friend of mine that has a company of mortgages, residential mortgages, the company called The Mortgage House. So my wife says, can you call him and arrange for my husband a job interview? So I'll give you the number. Have your husband call him. He says, no, my husband is not going to call him. He's shy. Can you arrange it? Guess what? He makes the call. He arranged for me a job interview. My wife comes to the house at night and she says, honey, I have great news. Tomorrow you're going to a job interview in a company called The Mortgage House in Hialeah. They're direct lenders. They're doing residential mortgages. And I said, Liat, this is commission-based. We have to pay Yarin's school. She used to go to like a daycare that I have to pay. Liat, I have $150 in my pocket. It's Shabbat. It's Friday tomorrow. I have to go and do shopping. We're like broke. I'm not going to take this job. And she says, please, if you love me, go to this job interview. She also brought my brother-in-law, her brother, to continue and add pressure on me to convince me to go to the job interview. My dad and my brother came to visit me from Israel because I was very depressed because of the situation. My dad, which is a very important person to me until this moment in my life, he's my mentor. And he says, Itzik, that's my Hebrew name, he says, Itzik, I hear everybody telling you, Eyal, my brother-in-law, Eyal is pushing you. I want you to do it for me and go to this job interview tomorrow. So I went to the job interview the following day, company called The Mortgage House. The owner name, I think, was Brad Weiss. Great people, gave me the opportunity, took me to a job interview, and they said, we're happy to take you. You maybe can bring us a lot of this Jewish, Israelis, clientele. You know, the real estate is growing here in Florida, and maybe a good opportunity, but we want you to know that in the next 6 months, you're not going to be able to meet with clients until we're going to feel that you're ready. We're going to put you with someone who's going to teach you how it's working. And I say, yeah, great. I'll get back to you. Can I call you on Monday and give you the answer? So Gavin says, one of the partners, Gavin says, yeah, sure, call me on Monday. So I came back home telling the whole family about the interview. Everybody's excited. So how was it in the interview? I said, it was great, but it's not for me. I told him why, 6 months and this and that. My brother-in-law says, hey, relax, we're here, we'll help you. My mother-in-law, my sister, that she said, hey, I'm going to resign from where I'm working in Israel because they owe me like, I don't know what, $15,000, and I'm going to send you that money. We all believe in you. You always helped everybody when you had money. This is a tough times for you, but it's going to turn. Guess what? Monday I called Gavin. I said that I'm taking the job. I'm taking the job. I was very hungry. And after 2 weeks, I felt that I'm ready. After 3 weeks, I was starting meeting with clients, convincing them to take mortgage, and I don't even know what I'm selling. Okay? Residential mortgages, conventional, FHA, a 30-year program, 15-year program. And I'm going to take you one step forward. 6 months after, I was the #1 producer in the company, making about $100,000 a month in commissions. And the first thing that I did is, of course, paying my brother-in-law, paying my mother-in-law, paying my brother, paying all the debt. I called my wife one day and I said, Liat, I'm on my way home. I forgot something. Can you come outside? And she comes outside and I bought her a brand new Lexus. And for me to see, I'm getting emotional, and for me to see that smile on her face, this was priceless.
So, what Warren Buffett says, right, is the most important decision in your life is the person you marry. I tend to agree with that. I mean, you have to be very aligned with the person you married, and, you have to believe in each other. And I think, she took that bet on you, Isaac.
My wife, and you're going to hear a little bit more about my wife today, so you'll understand that you are so right. Because thank God, with God's help and God's support, and my wife help and support, I am where I am today. She's handling the kids, she's handling the house, she's helping in the business. She's like my everything.
So you have 8 kids.
Yeah.
It's a lot of kids.
Yeah.
I mean, you're either taking a lot of Viagra or your wife is super hot. I'm guessing you're not taking Viagra.
That's correct. That's correct.
This guy hasn't slept in 15 years, probably.
So we always had an arrangement. I wanted to stop after 4 kids. And my wife says, please, I want a big family. Anyways, you're always working. What do you care? You don't need to deal with that. Anyways, we are wealthy enough that I can bring help and I can bring nannies and my mother will help. You don't need to worry about it. Continue with the business. Let me handle with the kids. And guess what? Today, I don't regret that I took her advice.
I'm sure. But what a comeback story. what was it that you think, what year was it that you were selling these, doing the mortgage?
2001 already.
Okay.
2001, 2002. And then the company used to do only residential mortgages. One day I'm getting a call from a person, may rest in peace. No need to mention names. But the guy was in a tough situation. He was about to lose everything. And he tells me, I need $500,000 second mortgage or I'm going to lose my property in South Beach. I said, what kind of property? He said, hotel. I heard hotel, South Beach. I said, when can I come see you? So I'm ready for you immediately. I go see the guy. He says, hey, look at this. The city put a red tag on the building. I didn't pay the last 4 mortgage payments. I'm in a deep problem. I need $500,000. Can you guys do for us a second mortgage? And I said, I'm going to tell you the truth. Our company is not doing commercial loans and they're not doing second mortgages. But I would like to speak to the owners of the company, and if they will give me permission, I think I have a solution for you. I called Brad and I said, Brad, do you mind if I'm going to do it? Because at that point I had the money already. And he says, sure, no problem, do it. And I did the deal. And long story short, about 14 months after, we sold together this hotel for $9 million profit.
Which hotel was it?
Aldon Hotel in Miami Beach.
The Alden.
Yeah, Indian Creek in 29.
Yeah.
So this was like a flip. It was a quick flip. And at the same time, by the way, another person that had 2 apartment buildings in North Miami and 6th Avenue wanted to sell them. And he was in trouble as well. And I brought my brother-in-law and his partner at that time to buy this one of these apartment buildings. The other apartment building, I sold it to someone else. I made a couple of hundreds of thousands of dollars by just bringing them the deal together. All the rest is a history, because then comes 2002, 2003, 2004. I'm already again all in with my money, buying real estate, buying apartment buildings.
Are you still brokering mortgages, or at this point?
No, that's it. Yeah. At that point, I'm out.
How long did you broker mortgages for?
I think for about 2 years.
Okay.
What are the fees on mortgage brokerage? Like, how did you get to that level of income? Like,
so at that time, is selling mortgages when in the company people used to do a loan and get like 1 point.
Right.
And I had, don't ask me because I'm not going to repeat it. I had a formula that I found to go to special audience, special area, and on every loan I did between 3 to 6 points.
Oh, wow.
So when other people or other loan officers in the company was looking for volume, I was looking for quality, not for quantity. So if I close one deal, it's like 5 or 6 deals that they need to close. And I did very well. And now I'm becoming a real estate owner myself in 2003, 2004, 2005, already doing condo conversions, buying big deals, buying apartment buildings. I'm like all over.
How big are the apartment buildings that you're doing? How many units?
So I was a partner with a group with 2 other partners that we bought 504 units in Las Vegas. Rentals, we paid $55 million, convert them to condominium. Made shitload of money in about 16 months. We came back to Miami, happy, sold the property. At the same time, we did other conversions, other properties. It was very difficult, traveling Florida, Las Vegas, and I used to do it at least once or twice a week.
Dang.
It was good times. It was great times. I had partners at that time. Today, they're just friends. We're not partners anymore. Then comes 2008. And my ribs getting broken.
Before we get to 2008,
Sure.
It sounds like you have a really unique ability to network with people that are either doing things or like it's a lot of lead generation to build that kind of wealth that quickly. You're finding deals, you're finding partners. That's a lot of phone calls. It's a lot of talking to people, talking to the right people. Like, do you have any special formula for like how are you able to identify deals and partners that could execute on these with you? Because
my deal flow is very strong because my word is my bond. If you bring me a deal and I tell you, yes, we have a deal, that's the price, that's the terms, we'll close in 30 days, 60 days, 90 days, it's a done deal. That's my reputation until today, and we will speak later about what I do today. I'm a fast decision maker. Yes, I'm a risk taker. Today, when I'm getting older and older, obviously, I'm taking less and less risk. I'm trying to take calculated risk or smart risks. I don't want to go back to the days of 1999 and 2000.
well, you don't need to anymore. But how are you? So is it like brokers, just talking to people? You were just calling people all day?
I used to drive, for example, on A1A on Collins Avenue at 6:30, 7 o'clock in the morning, taking coffee. In the trunk of my car, I have a vacant land commercial contract, a checkbook, knocking on people's doors. Say, hey, I'm looking for an opportunity. Are you interested to sell? 50 people tells me no, one say yes. Guess what? The one that say yes, pay for the whole 50 people. So one day I drive in the morning, I see a great piece of property across from the ocean in Hallandale. It's an ALF, used to call that time Ocean Plaza. I think it was in 2004. I go inside. I say, hi, who is the owner? The lady says, the owner is sitting here. Charles Pollack, may rest in peace, old man. I said, sir, are you interested in selling the property? And he said, hey, young kid, sit. What do you want to buy ALF? And I said, I'm not sure that I want to buy this ALF. I want to buy it because of the building, because of the location. And he says, I have to sell the building because in 10 days I'm going to lose this property. I see the guy, I feel very bad for him at his age. I don't know, I think he had like 80 residents over there. It was a beautiful piece of property. And I said, how much you owe on the property? He says, $5 million. And I'm willing to give you the deed if you'll give me a check for $500,000 and you take over. Guess what? In my mind already, I have the whole deal done. I know who's the lender I'm calling. I know who's the partner I'm bringing to the deal. I was staying at this place from the morning until 3 o'clock in the afternoon, but I left with the contract signed. A week after, I closed. I brought 2 partners to the property. We closed together. We got the loan. We operated a place. A few years after, sold it for like $5 or $6 million profit. But remember, at the same time, I'm doing 20 other deals. So it's not like one deal and that's it. And this is what I do today. And we'll speak a little bit what I do today in a few minutes. But this is my business model. If I believe it's something, I go all in, but I spread my risk. I'm not going to go all in on one deal. So if I want to put $20 million, I prefer to put the $20 million in 4 or 5 deals and not just putting $20 million in one deal.
And that's a unique ability to be able to underwrite it that quickly. Most people would want to see comps, want to see the P&L for the ALF. They want to know what our typical ALF, P&L looks like. Like, how do you so quickly decide, like, this is what I'm going to do?
So I'm going to give you a story that just happened to me 2.5 years ago, and this will give you the answer. I'm getting a call from a friend of mine that says that someone that has relationship with the board of Office Depot, they want to sell their headquarters in Boca Raton. I hear Boca Raton. Get excited. What is the property? 650,000 square feet of office, 29 acres of land on the Broken Sound golf course. How much they want for the property? About $130 million. Long story short, 3 days after I sign a contract, I'm going hard at $104 million because in my mind, I'm buying it by the pound. I'm buying it on the land value only. Other people say how much I can rent the office for, what I'm going to get, what will be the occupancy. And this is thank God, this is I think something very unique to me. I know how to analyze and underwrite deals super fast. I have the flexibility. I don't have a board and I don't have 20 other people that I need their advice. So the only opinion and the advice that I need is from my wife. I need her blessing. I'm never doing a deal that my wife is telling me not to do. And I'm never doing a deal with a partner that my wife tells me don't deal with him.
Do you run every deal by her?
Every deal.
So you called her on the ALF, you called her on the golf
Not
course.
only calling her, I said, Liat, I need you in 30 minutes here. I need you to come. This is the truth, until today, by the way.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's really cool.
I need her energy. I need her blessing. And thank God it's working perfect.
And so on the golf course, you underwrite just based on per acre. You're
vacant
like, per
land.
Acre, this is
vacant
all
land.
day, this is money
This
maker.
thing is worth $200 million just on the land alone. The office is a gravy. Long story short, we bought the deal. I brought a partner. Today, this office building, we're enjoying a very, very high occupancy. I don't know if you saw the press release not long ago. Equinox just signed with us a 20-year long-term lease. A lot of other office tenants. We're going to demolish one of the 3 office buildings, and we did a joint venture with Related and PEBB Enterprises. We received the entitlements from the city of Boca Raton. We're going to do 500 units right on the golf course. AAA location. So now we will have 400,000 square feet of office, 500 residential unit, 37,000 square feet of Equinox, and we're going to add about 43,000 square feet of prime retail space with a lot of restaurants. So again, this is, thank God, creativity, vision, the ability to move quick. I can look at a deal today, sign a contract today, and close in 3 days or close next week. The fact that I have a lot of good partners next to me is something that's important. George Perez, John Paul Perez, Nick Perez, the Perez family. We started our relationship about 13 years ago. Today we became like family, very, very close friends. We have over 20 projects together, ongoing 20 joint ventures. I would never had the ability to do this thing on my own. And this is why I prefer to make less money in a deal, but bring with me the right partner that has the capabilities, taking it all the way to the finish line. So same model I repeat with Lennar, with Kolter, with the Viette family, with PEBB, with American Landmark. It's important to select good people, the right partner, because I always say that you cannot do a good deal with a bad partner.
Of course. And it sounds like your superpower is sourcing the deal, making a very quick decision and underwriting and executing, and then bringing in these guys to help on the back, well, not on the back end, but help actually execute the vision. That's
the whole business plan. People always ask me, and Isaac, how you do all these deals at the same time? And I tell them that basically my business model is very, very simple. I buy prime real estate. I bring good partners that together we can take the project all the way to the finish line. And today we're doing Ritz-Carlton West Palm Beach, Fisher Island, W in Pompano Beach, Viceroy Aventura, Icon Beach, Hub Miami, District 225, many other projects. We just broke ground 2 days ago with Lennar on Greenway Presidential. It's a golf course that I purchased with the Viette family. It's an incredible deal. Very happy, very excited. So again, I want to stick to the plan. Discipline is important. I'm not doing business in other states, Florida only. I only buy prime real estate. This is a decision that my wife and I made long time ago. We will never settle for the location. I can buy an asset that it's an okay condition, a shopping center that needs some work, an office building needs some work, but the location have to be prime. If the location is not prime, I'm not touching it.
But let's just back this up a little because I want to go back to the ALF. So that was what year?
2004, I think.
2004. And so you buy the ALF, but you're really not doing any ground up projects till when? When do you start doing some ground up development?
So I was doing a lot of condo conversions. My first ground up construction, that's the first joint venture that we did with George Perez, with the Related Group. This was the Hyde Beach Resort. I think we signed our joint venture agreement in 2012.
Okay.
It's an oceanfront site in Hollywood.
So between 2004, which was the ALF, and 2012, what were you working on during that time?
Yeah, I want to go back to getting our ribs broken in 08. That's where we left off.
Yeah, exactly.
Doing in 2005, 6, 7, buying a lot of income producing asset, value add deals, land to get it entitled, condo conversions, rental that we're converting to condominiums.
Those were the heydays of condo conversions. Like
That's
06, 07, 05. That was
Exactly.
like the peak of let's convert these apartments to condos, settle them out. And then the bottom fell out.
Exactly. So come 2008, we had great portfolio, great deals, but unfortunately it doesn't make a difference what deal you had and if the deal is good or bad. It's like the world was falling apart. Banks, we all remember Bear Stearns, Lehman Brothers, like downtown you could buy things here for $150 a foot. Sanyas, you could buy a condo for $300 a square feet. Like Florida was a ghost town, New York, like the world was melting.
Yeah.
Did you feel like it was another version of 2001 again? How did you feel in that
Now
time?
this was on a much higher scale because in 2001 it wasn't a bubble. It's a stock market bubble,
Right.
but it's a .com. It's something that you don't control. You're buying a stock and you just have to sit and wait on the screen if today it's going to be green or
Right.
red. But in real estate, it's like all of a sudden the world is falling apart. The buyers disappeared. Buyer puts deposit on buying a condo, 5-10%, and they don't show up to the closing. Say, keep the deposit, I'm not coming. And many other developers around United States suffered major catastrophes. But I realized that dealing with problems is not going to make me a comeback. And what I started doing is I will start buying some defaulted papers, assets in distress, banks that took over properties. Like, for example, we bought a building in Aventura. FDIC took over one of the bank, I think it used to call Capital Bank or Turnberry Bank. It's a building that's worth at least $20 million or more today. I bought it for $5 million. In a prime location right next to the Aventura Mall, great potential, great development rights. But at that time, you could buy properties by the pound. Yeah. It doesn't make a difference if this is Brickell Avenue or Miami Beach on the ocean. It doesn't make a difference. Nobody was really busy if you're buying, nobody was really focused if you're buying a great piece of property or not. It's like the market was dead.
So instead of dealing with the problems you had, instead of focusing on how do I save this property, this deal, you're like, screw that. I'm going to focus on buying distressed debt, buying distressed properties.
First of all, I didn't say screw that to anything. I was fighting and working with a lot of the lenders to salvage a lot of the deals and buying back the defaulted paper from them. And thank God I was successful. I'm a person that believes in relationship. I don't like to burn bridges with people. So it was important for me until this moment, my name, my reputation, and working with some of these lenders, because those lenders understand it's not your fault. It's like, I had, for example, a closing on a construction loan, $180 million at that day, at 3 o'clock at Holland and Knight, the law firm that was representing the lender, no need to mention the name, and at 6 o'clock, at 6 a.m. at the same day, the lender filed for Chapter 11.
Oh, wow.
It's like crazy things happen.
Crazy.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like what George did with the whole icon thing. He worked with the lender. They preserved the relationship, gave back the keys. You guys have a similar...
Between George and the JP and Nick, you'll find hardworking people, honest people. Their reputation is important for them. They're always going to do the right thing. And yes, financial institutions and lenders understand that, hey, what happened? It's not George Perez's fault. George Perez did everything that he said he will do. He bought the land, he got it entitled, he pre-sold the condos, he got the project built, buyers put deposit, and poof, comes 2008, 2009, the building is completed, you're sending letters to the buyers, hey, your closing is set for Wednesday of next week, and the buyers don't show up, they're not even responding to you. And imagine now that you're doing it in a scale like George did, and thousands of units, and everything is falling apart at the same time. But George was not the only one. You had many, many other developers. By the way, not only in the US, the world was melting.
It was melting. No, I just mean in the way you worked with the lenders instead of walking away and letting them take it and deal with the bullshit. You worked through it with them. And it probably led to more deal flow down the road.
I'm a type of person that believe that if there is a problem, sit with the person and find a solution to get it resolved. By you avoiding the problem doesn't mean that you resolve it. This thing is going to hunt you back.
Yeah, makes it worse. So did you see, was 2008, did it end up being a net negative or net positive? Because there's a lot of deals to be made during that time.
So I'll tell you what, I recovered after that, a few years after. I did a couple of good moves. One of the best moves that I ever did in my life is that I met the Related Group and the Perez family.
So let's talk a little bit about that. How did the connection happen? How did you get connected to the Perez family?
So Edgardo de Fortuna, Fortune International, had a piece of property that they wanted to sell in Hollywood called Beach Place at that time. I went under contract on that property. We were together. He was the seller. I was the buyer. Things didn't work because Edgardo thought that he's selling me one thing and I thought that I'm getting something else. So we decided that instead of arguing, we will do the right thing and we will try to do a settlement that will work for everybody. And basically, Edgardo brought the Related Group to the table, which we did a deal that everybody were happy. I brought an investor with me and a partner, the Vieta family, great people, great friends. Until today, we have a lot of deals together. And at that time, we said, hey, instead of arguing and fighting, let's try to find the solution to work the deal together. So we did close on the site at the end. Edgardo got fully paid, stayed as a partner. George came in as a partner. We stayed as the majority partner Today, if you'll drive by the building, you'll see 407 units right on the ocean, right on the sand. It was a very, very, very successful deal. We did very well in this deal. But what's important more than this specific deal is the relationship that we established with the Perez family. And now, 13 years after, things speaking for themselves.
So one deal led to the next deal, led to the next deal. And now you have, what did you say, 17 or 20 projects together?
That's correct. George, JP, and Nick are my natural partner. And when I see deal that I feel that this is for them, they're my first call. There is no reason for me to call other people. First of all, it's my friendship to them. It's my loyalty to them. George is my idol. George is my mentor. I speak to him a lot. He's an unbelievable person. JP and Nick became my friends, and I enjoy working with them. They're amazing people. You see kids that came from a wealthy family, and sometimes you see kids that lazy. With JP and Nick, it's exactly the opposite. Running a company like the Related Group, it's not something, this is not a fly-by-night organization. It's a huge company with about 100 projects in multiple states, and they're doing an incredible job. I'm enjoying working with them every hour of the day.
That's amazing. So you went from that project and just basically kept doing what you do and have now built this giant portfolio. What are we working on today? Ooh. I mean, we just went from 08 to 2010. I mean, 2011, 12, I feel like everyone was screaming that 08 was happening again in Miami, and it's just been nothing but upward trajectories. We got lucky with COVID. It kept everything going. I mean,
but I'll tell you what, a little bit about COVID that you touched that is people forget that Miami had a very, very positive momentum before COVID. What happened with COVID is just like adding more oil to the fire.
Yep.
And all of a sudden, the governor made a very smart decision, keeping the state open. Many people that were on a lockdown in other states and say, hey, I'm going to Miami. I want to enjoy life. I want to go to the beach. I want my family to enjoy. And all of a sudden, people realize that Miami is not a place only for sun and fun. You have much more than that to do in Miami. And a lot of the people never went back. And we, in our project, we see people, we see the data every day. We're selling, we have 8 projects that we're currently selling. So to our sales center, we see all the time traffic. We get the data, we get the weekly report, where the buyers are coming from. Guess what? We are now in March 2025. We still see Canadians coming, New Yorkers coming, California coming, Chicago coming.
Is it mostly domestic or international buyers?
Today we see about, years ago we used to see about 90% or 85% of the buyers South Americans or foreign nationals. Today we see about 50-60% Americans. They're
and your projects are extremely high-end projects. I mean, they're luxury, ultra luxury projects.
I would say yes. I like the word luxury condos, ultra luxury. What we do is we like prime real estate. Like we closed 7-8 months ago with Kolter on a site in Naples, right on the sand, right on the water, adjacent to Four Seasons, right next to the Rosewood. It's an irreplaceable piece of property, 2.5 acres. You cannot find another inch in Naples on the sand. Fisher Island, we bought the site 2.5 years ago. I brought Teddy Sagi, my very close friend and partner, to capitalize the deal and to be the financial backup on the deal. Teddy believed in me, believed in the deal, and guess what? All the rest is history. Today you see that we sold more than $600 million of condos. The building is under construction, 50 units, and $1 billion sellout. We bought an incredible piece on the islands. It's like, this is what I like. This is what turns me on.
But it's pretty incredible that the tides have changed so much, right? From international buyers being 90% to now being domestic to almost 50-60% being the consumers that are acquiring these properties here.
Because remember, years ago, people used to gamble on Florida and used to be speculators. I'll put a deposit, and if it's going to be good, I'm going to go to closing, or I'll flip the unit next year or in 2 years or in 3 years. Today, a lot of the buyers are buyers that want to move here, and they want their kids to move here, and they planning to retire in 2 years. So let me put a deposit on this condo. Great. The Ritz-Carlton in West Palm Beach is going to be ready in 2.5 years. I'm planning to leave New York. I'm planning to leave Chicago. Hurry up. I'll put a deposit. We're doing amazing in the Ritz in West Palm.
So quick question though. I mean, you love Florida. Like, you don't do projects outside of Florida. If anyone asks you to do, I heard you saying like, you can make $100 million on a flip in Denver, you'd say absolutely not. Like, you're just all about Florida.
I'm getting about 10 to 20 inquiries a week on partners, brokers, financial institutions trying to bring me deals in New York, in Chicago, in California, in Texas. And I always telling people, very nice answer, and I'm being very polite, that my whole business is an hour and a half south and an hour and a half north. I don't want to get on those days that I have to travel all day.
So you don't Orlando, you're not touching. It's Naples, it's South Florida, Tampa maybe.
If it's under the umbrella, it says Florida.
Yeah.
And you bring me an incredible piece of property in
You
Florida.
would even go to Lower Alabama, the Panhandle up there.
So no, but I'll tell you what I did. So a few months ago, we acquired, together with Related, 6.5 acres in Palm Coast, Hammock Dunes. You should Google it later. This is one of the nicest places you ever saw in your life. Gated community, golf courses right on the ocean, right on the sand. So we bought together 6.5 acres right on the sand, the last piece of property to be developed in Hammock Dunes, gated community, 1,200 unit owners, the last project that will ever be built in Hammock Dunes. And we just launched sales under the brand of the Ritz-Carlton residence, along with Related. So this is a piece of property that I went to see it, and you cannot say no to something like this. It's on the ocean. You know that God stopped producing properties on the ocean many years ago. It's not going to be another opportunity for someone to buy another 6.5 acres in Hammock Dunes in Palm Coast, or 2.5 acres in Naples, or Fisher Island. It's one of a kind. I cannot say no to this.
Why are you so bullish on Florida, and particularly Miami?
I think that South Florida has a great story, and there is a lot of reasons, by the way. It's not only one story, one answer. The reason for that is Dade, Broward, Palm Beach, state of Florida. We all feel here very safe. You can have a Patek Philippe, you can drive a Bentley in the morning or at 3 o'clock in the morning, and nobody's gonna rob you on Collins Avenue or along US 1. I'm not sure you can do it in New York or in Chicago, in California. I got friends that went through some very bad stories, especially in LA. It's the reason that the place is safe. You think a guy like Carl Icahn, Jeff Bezos, Ken Griffin, and many others, Gerald Kushner, you think that all those guys are dumb? You think that all those guys are here only to save taxes? No. The quality of life, the safe place. They save money on taxes. You have the best restaurants here, the best beaches here. I prefer to live in a place, like people used to laugh at me sometimes, say, hey, how you live in South Florida when you have those hurricanes and every year you have hurricane season? Guess what? I prefer to live in a place like Florida, when sometimes you're gonna get an alert, hey, there is a storm coming in 3 days, in 4 days, you need to prepare. God forbid, we saw the disaster that happened in California with the fire, with earthquakes, when you don't get any notice. Nobody's telling you it's coming. It's just coming. And we all saw what happened. Florida is an amazing place. It's a beautiful place. It's a great place. This is
Particularly Miami, right? Miami is the coolest city in the world.
Miami's the best place.
Center of the universe, Ben.
Miami is the best place in the world, but I can tell you about a lot of amazing places in South Florida. I love West Palm Beach.
Yeah.
I love Boca Raton. I love Pompano Beach.
But they're all a backseat to Miami. Let's be honest.
I'll tell you what, sometimes you're going to see the buyers that buy at the Ritz-Carlton in West Palm, he doesn't come and buy here in Brickell Avenue. The profile is completely different.
Miami's not for everyone.
That's correct. I love Miami.
We always joke that the USA starts at the Broward line.
And
it's all the gringos up there.
Where do you live here?
I live in Sunny Isles,
okay.
And our offices are in Aventura. Same office for 19 years. It takes me about 5 minutes to get to the office in the morning. So I don't want to drive an hour every day.
I think I heard on another podcast that you wake up at 4:30 in the morning every day.
I start every day at 4:30. Today I started at 4:15.
Okay,
Wow.
So wait, hold on. Let's back this up a little. What time do you go to bed?
11:30.
So you
I told you this guy doesn't sleep.
Holy shit.
And by the way, when I
should-
go to bed, I don't fall to sleep. I still check my
Yeah.
emails, WhatsApp, text messages.
You okay? So you get up at 4:30. What do you do when you get up?
First, checking my phone.
First thing you check your phone.
Why? Because when I went to sleep, there is a lot of people that were firing emails to me and text messages and WhatsApp messages. If there is something that is important, I deal with that immediately.
Do you work out in the mornings?
Sometimes.
Yeah. What do you do?
Sometimes I ride the bicycle, walk at the beach. I live right by the beach. So I walk at the beach, I take a coffee and I walk a little bit. I run sometimes. I used to go to the gym with a private trainer. I stopped doing it a few years ago. Now, the last month, I started again and I hope that I'm going to continue.
But you exercise somewhat regularly?
No.
No?
I wish.
Yeah.
I wish.
Okay.
He's
If you would
too
ask,
much.
if you would ask my wife, she would tell you, yeah, he's working out on a keyboard.
Yeah.
Well,
Finger workout.
So you're up at 4, you're already working, checking your emails. What do you do for fun besides work? Anything else?
working.
Working.
I love what I do.
You love what you do.
I love what I do.
Yeah.
I'm going to tell you something.
What do you spend your money on? Because you have a lot of
I
money.
let my wife spend it.
Yeah, you like
My wife and kids.
Yeah.
We do a lot of charity and I let my wife
You
and
want to
kids.
adopt me and Ben?
So there is people that go to sleep at night and they don't want the morning to come.
Yeah.
I go to sleep at night and I want the morning to come. I'm excited to wake up every day. I love what I do. I'm full of energy. I'm full of passion.
You just love the deal.
George Perez will tell you that Isaac is a deal junkie and Isaac has the best nose for real estate and Isaac is a risk taker. And you'll talk to my partners and all of them will tell you a lot of things that this is the truth. I love what I do. I'm full of passion. I'm full of energy.
So you're never going to retire.
I'll tell you the answer that I always say when people tell me, when you think you're going to retire? So I say, never. I want to die at 90 years old, healthy, at the office, and from the office straight to the cemetery. But I'm not going to decide. God is going to decide.
Do you think you'll slow down at all? Are you slowing down at all or not really?
I hope not.
No?
I hope not.
Okay.
What's next? Anything next for BH Group? Anything on the horizon you're excited about?
I think pushing the next generation, my kids, into the business.
How old are your kids, by the way?
I got my oldest one, she's almost 26. And my youngest one, she's 7 years old. So I got all the
Wow.
ages. Throw a number between 26 and 7, I have them.
And I heard you're recently a
Grandpa, yeah.
grandpa?
I became grandpa about 13 months ago, 14 months ago.
Wow, congratulations.
Thank you. Very
That's
happy,
amazing.
very excited. The good thing that I have is I'm keeping Shabbat. So being a person that runs a semi-religious life comes Friday afternoon for sundown.
Are you eat kosher?
Yes.
Yeah. So let me talk a little bit about Shabbat. So Friday, sundown,
Close my phone,
shut your phone,
no emails,
no emails.
no TV, going to the synagogue to pray to God, thank Him for everything,
On Saturday morning,
going to the synagogue.
you walk there.
Walk to the synagogue, pray for about 2 hours, 2.5 hours, come back, spend time with my family, having amazing breakfast, lunch,
Don't
dinner.
look at the phone at all.
I cannot.
Yeah.
I cannot. I'm not touching the phone. I'm not doing anything.
No technology.
No technology. And I love it.
You don't
the
get
best day
you
of
don't
the
get
week
behind
for
the
me.
car. Yeah.
No car, no driving. The best day in the week for me is today's Thursday. I'm waiting for Shabbat to come tomorrow night. My partner knows that. George sometimes laughs at me and says, hey, I want to convert as well. I think this is, and people really respect me for this. And a lot of my partners know that the only way that I'm not going to bother them and I'm not going to disturb them is between Friday night and Saturday night. They also have a mini Shabbat from Isaac, a vacation from Isaac. No emails, no text messages, no WhatsApp messages.
The only one that doesn't get a vacation is your wife, huh?
Listen, she's the love of my life.
Yeah.
She's my partner. She's my everything. Unfortunately, she's not here with us today. But if you think that I'm smart, she's much smarter than me. She has incredible instincts. She's super, super talented on everything she's doing. She cooks the best food. She takes care of my family. She has a great heart. And I thank God for giving me the opportunity, meeting my wife. I proposed to my wife after 3 weeks that we met.
Dang.
Wow.
And 3 months after we got married. We're married now almost 28 years.
That's amazing.
That's incredible.
Yeah.
So Shabbat ends Saturday sundown, and then are you ready?
First thing that I
First
do.
thing is pick up the
Check the phone.
Check the phone.
Check the phone. There is on the average about 500-600 emails.
500 to 600 emails.
I do on the average a day 400 to 500 emails. just for you to know. And if you want, we'll do it random. I'll take my phone.
What are we at? The counter. 381. You clear that out every day?
And this is, by the way, I worked a few hours already this morning. So we're now at 383 now. I can guarantee you that about 75% requires my attention. And I don't go to sleep at night until I clear my inbox.
Zero. Wow.
Every day we start fresh, like God, you know, we go to sleep at night. People never thought about it. You understand that I'm a person that believes in God. Like, you're going to sleep at night, your phone is almost, the battery is almost dead, you use it the whole day. What do? You put it in charge, right? But you never thought about the fact that you're dead tired, you work the whole day, it's 11 o'clock, it's midnight, you're dead, you're putting your head on the pillow and you're falling to sleep. How are you waking up in the morning with all this new energy? Going to the gym, going to the shower, going to work. Nobody really charged you. You didn't go. Nobody put a court. This is all from God. So we really need to thank God for everything that we have. For our life, for our families, for our success, for our health, for our money, for everything. Nothing comes. It's like you didn't press on a button and things happen.
Amen.
Yeah.
What a beautiful story, Isaac.
Yeah.
Thanks for
Thank
sitting down
you.
with us today.
Yeah.
My pleasure.
It was really fun to
Pleasure.
hear the story and to chat with you. Good to know you.
Thank you, guys. Thank you for having me.
Yeah. Thanks, Isaac. What a pleasure.
Cheers.
Have a wonderful afternoon.